I'll be presenting on Uganda, and my question is, why is Uganda one of the poorest countries in the world, despite its substantial resources? First of all, to give some demographic information, population of Uganda is a little less than 35 million people, and the GDP per capita is $1,400. Uganda's economy is primarily based on agriculture and food processing, like most other African nations. Although recently Uganda discovered oil, so that's expected to take up more and more of the country's economy. Uganda gained its independence from British colonization in 1962, and the government of Uganda is a republic. And in 2005, Uganda finally transitioned into a multi-party system, so the current president of Uganda is Yoweri Museveni, and the official languages used are Swahili and English. To give some background information on Uganda's poverty, according to a Ugandan publication, more than 65% of Uganda's population is either below the poverty line of $1.2 or highly prone to being under that line. Mortality rate of children under 5 is 137 per 1,000 live births. And number of children orphaned from different causes in 2007 is 2.5 million. So, in order to answer the question, why is Uganda one of the poorest countries in the world, we can look at the causes in 3 different aspects of the pies, which are economic, social, and political. So, the 3 main reasons of Uganda's ongoing poverty are dependence on subsistence farming, lack of healthcare, and political corruption. According to an article on the State House of Uganda website, President Museveni has named subsistence farming in Uganda to be a driving cause for the chronic poverty in the country. So what subsistence farming is in essence, you only harvest enough food for your family to survive. So, and actually 86% of the population lives in rural areas and relies solely on subsistence economy. So in consequence, the families don't seek any economic gain from their farming, and this doesn't leave room for any investments economically. And there really isn't a successful commercial economy in Uganda for people in rural areas. The next reason is the lack of healthcare. So in Uganda, malaria is prevalent. There's a high HIV infection rate like other African countries. And it's self-explanatory that the lack of healthcare results in more deaths in the family, so a lot of parents are unable to provide support for their children. And also the lack of healthcare is responsible for high costs of healthcare, obviously, days lost in working or education, and obviously because there's less healthcare, there's less workforce because more sick people. This is a vicious cycle because due to poverty, people are unable to access medical care, and then in return, it doesn't allow them to engage in economic activity. So it just keeps going until there's a solution to the problem. And my final reason is the political corruption in Uganda, where the majority of Uganda population resides is in the rural areas, and corruption such as bribery and embezzlement takes the wealth of the majority of the population and it uses it for personal use by government officials who make up a very small percentage of the whole population. And especially when the government elites are taking government funds, this leaves no room for the country to develop as a whole. So they're taking the funds necessary for the country to develop economically and using it for personal use. However, in the last few years, the president of Uganda has attempted to set up initiatives in order to fight the poverty in Uganda. For example, in 2000, he established the Poverty Alleviation Department, which its main purpose is to set up what they call model parishes and they concentrate several projects of relieving poverty in specific areas to speed up the economic growth. So they would provide them with better seeds, farming implements, and cattle and such. And the initiative encourages commercialization of Uganda's economy. Also, an organization that I found interesting was what was called the Presidential Initiative on Banana Industrial Development. So apparently 10 million tons of banana are produced every year, and it's an initiative to make bananas a commercial product by incorporating technology, setting up industries, and making new products from banana. And these are only a few examples of how Uganda has dealt with its chronic poverty. So according to an article, Uganda's poverty levels has been constantly decreasing since 1992. And recently there has been an emerging group of middle class that has overcome poverty in the past. And especially now that Uganda has discovered oil as a natural resource, I think we can be optimistic about Uganda's future and its future economy.